Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the intake manifold on my 1991 Chevrolet Silverado, and it's just this piece right here. And the first thing you want to start off by doing is disconnecting the negative terminal of your battery. The next step is you'll want to move the air filter assembly, and I'm just going to start by unscrewing this nut at the top of this right here. So the air filter comes right off like so. Now the next step I'm going to do is there's a little hose, and I'm going to take a screwdriver, loosen the clamp, and then I can just slide that hose right off. Okay, after I took the hose off right there, then this piece right here just snapped out of this piece, this holder right here. As you can see, let me lift it up. See, this is where the hose connected, right there. Our next step will be draining the radiator fluid. I opened this overflow reservoir, and the radiator is in front of your fan, towards the front of your car or truck, and it runs from, this is the radiator cap. It runs from here all the way to the other side of your fan, and this is where your hose, upper radiator hose, goes to your thermostat. It runs all the way to here. So you could picture, I don't know if you can see it through the, I don't know, it's kind of dark, but anyway, just imagine a rectangular shape, and that's kind of the size of your radiator. We're on the side of the radiator that has the radiator hose, or upper radiator hose, and as you can see, the side of the radiator. Now, towards the bottom of the radiator, let's see if I can get it. Okay, I'm gonna kind of slide my hand. This right here is kind of like the radiator case, and I'm sliding my hand along the body down. Okay, and then at the very bottom of the radiator body is a little nut right here, that you just unscrew, and that drains your radiator fluid. Now, we have you can use a little flexible hose, like I have this black flexible hose. I'll get my hand out of the way. I have a black flexible hose that you could just kind of connect to your nut, and that hole, and then you can drain it into a bucket. You kind of fish it through the bottom of your vehicle and drain it into a bucket. Now we'll want to disconnect once we have the radiator drained, the radiator fluid, then we want to disconnect the upper hose from the thermostat housing. And as you can see, there's a little clamp, so you just pinch it together, and you can pull the hose right off. We got the radiator hose off, and now, as you can see, and now what we want to do is we want to remove the ESC, or electronic spark control, and it's this little piece right here. There's 2 bolts. Let me zoom in here. There, you can see one right there and one right there. You want to remove those. Okay, this is your alternator right here, and what you're going to want to do, the alternator rear brace connects to the intake manifold. It's right here, and so you're going to want to remove that. Now I'm going to remove the distributor, which is this piece in the back right here behind this is a throttle body, and then where all these little hoses go in are the where the distributor is, so I'm gonna take that off now. Now I'm going to be removing the I ran into a couple hard screws right here, so I'll come back to you on the distributor, removing that. But I'm also going to move the EGR valve, that stands for exhaust gas recirculator, and it's right here. It looks like a almost like a saucer, or like a UFO or something. I don't know. It's kind of. I'll show you where the nuts are on that. There's one on the. Okay, there's one kind of where my hand is pointing, and the other one is. Let me see if I get a good angle. Is right here, and you just want to remove those two clips, or those two nuts, and screw them. So I just took off the throttle body, and basically there's three screws, one right there, and another one right there, and then you just take them all out like so. And then the throttle body just lifts up like so. I was able to remove the distributor cap nuts, and one thing that really helped is this, my drill. And I picked this up at Home Depot, and it's pretty handy. It's particularly getting into tight spaces. You know, it has a flex hose, and that really helps getting into these tight spaces. But anyhow, I was able to remove this distributor cap. That's kind of what the distributor looks like when the cap's removed. And one thing I forgot to mention, when you these hoses, you want to make sure you mark them. The correct hose goes to the correct place, and all they do is remove like so. They just pop off. They just snap off, and then when you connect them, they just snap back on again, like so. Now you want to mark the distributor with a pen or a marker, and that way, because you want to install it the same way that you put it back in relation to the engine. So we're gonna make a couple marks here. Let me get good. Alright. We'll make a mark right here where it kind of meets this. And then we'll make another mark. We'll make another mark in relation to the engine. And that way we can install it the same way that we put it back in. Okay, so once you have the distributor marked, you want to remove this screw right here. I'll point to it. Let me see if I get a better angle for you. And that holds it to the engine, and then you should be able to slide it right out. Okay, once I remove the distributor, see that hole right there? It opens up a lot more space back there, and you have to get it off in order to take off your manifold. Anyway, there's a few more pieces I'm going to remove, like this piece right here, and there's a couple screws that I have to unbolt. One right here, and another one, let's see, right here. Those two, and that's what holds this to the engine manifold. And then, anyway, I'll come back to you when you pretty much want to label everything so that you don't have, you know where to connect things when you put everything back together. But I'll come back to you when I have the manifold taken off. So when you get everything away from the intake manifold, disconnect, then you want to start disconnecting the side screws that mount the intake manifold to the engine, that run along the side of the intake manifold, like these two screws Let's see. These two in the front here, you know, like the side screws pretty much. And then you can just pop the intake manifold right off. When you have all the screws off, then sometimes these manifolds, like the seal between the body and the manifold, can get really stuck a little bit. So you could take a pry bar and just kind of pry the edges a little bit. You don't want to. You could even hammer it, but don't do it too hard, and it should just lift off like so. Okay, the body's off, or the intake manifold's off. It's kind of what it should look like. You could take a razor blade, kind of scrape off all the dirty stuff. Yeah, anything, it was leaking because anything, you know, that's not, like, doesn't look like the rest of the holes, that means something's wrong. And let's go over and take a look at this intake manifold. You get a better look at it now that it's off. Here's what you're looking at. The thermostat housing goes here, the throttle body, all the side mounting holes, and just looks like so on the underside. Okay, there you have it. I'm going to clean it up and put it back on for you. These are the new intake manifold gaskets. One goes on this side, the other goes on the other side. And then the engine manifold, intake manifold, sits on top of that. Now you're also going to want to use a RTV silicone, or high temperature silicone, and your gasket maker, and you're going to want to seal the edges, and that gives a little more extra protection against leaks. I'll show you how that goes. So basically with the RTV sealant, you want to go around your holes, a lot of your holes on both sides, and you want to give a generous bead on the front and also on the back. And then what you're going to do, you're going to put your gaskets on. For a little added protection, after I put the intake gaskets back on, I just went around with a little bit more RTV sealant just for a little added protection. Now I'm going to put the intake manifold back on. Before you put everything back together, you just tighten the bolts, and then you could put your throttle body and what have you back on your intake. Once you have the bolts fastened on the intake manifold, then you can reinsert your distributor. This is what it looks like when it's off, and you want to put it in the same position as you did when you took it out. And you couldn't see this when it was on the truck, but it mounts to the distributor like so, and a bolt goes in like so. I'll show you how it goes in. When you put your distributor back on, then you just want to make sure that the marks that you made before you took it out line up with the marks on the intake manifold, and that this piece lines up with the mark that you made. Then you just slide it down in there. You might have to turn it slightly counterclockwise to get the gears lined up, but then it should slide back in there pretty easily. After you install your distributor, you just put your clip back on, your holding clip back on, and the distributor body. Then you can put your distributor cap in and put all your the plugs that go to your engine. Oh, there we go. Plug them back into the top of your distributor cap. You want to put back your EGR valve, and you just connect it right next to your throttle body. Let's see. Here it is. These two. Just slide it onto these two screws right here. Okay, when you start to put the alternator rear brace on, you're almost done putting everything on. You remember how this goes like so. one brace goes like so, screwed into the body, into the intake manifold, and the other brace connects like so. There's a bolt that screws these two together, and just goes right on here, and then you put a nut on there. And then once you have everything connected, you can don't forget to tighten your radiator drain plug, and then put in a little bit of radiator fluid, and we'll check it out to see how it works. Everything looks good, no leaks. And that's how you replace the engine intake manifold. It looks very good. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. All the best, and God bless.